Welcome back, guys. Welcome back to Dr. OJ and Tolu. My name is Dr. Oyinka Solajinadu, and
I have Tolu and I in the building.
and we are back again this week with another amazing episode. And we're excited. Of course, it's still the month of October. And Tolu, what do we have for our guests today?
Basically, we're talking about awareness for abuse, and of course, we're talking about teens.
Yes, we're going to be focusing on our teenagers. I know Tolu loves the teenagers, and he always likes to pour his heart out to them to help them avoid a lot of pitfalls that we have experienced.
Of course.
So today we're going to be focusing on teen dating violence, and we're raising awareness to things that our young people need to be very, very woke about. I don't know why that's a word, like it's woke, right? Y'all say woke.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still a thing, right?
You
So
gotta be woke.
I'm a millennial, sort of borderline, so y'all don't make too much fun of me. I'm just trying to relate to you.
Absolutely.
All right, so guess what? We will be right back. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Turn your notification on because guess what? Every single week, you're going to see our faces. And we're excited to bring amazing content to you. Like our video. What else do they need to do?
Well, follow you on social media as well.
And you on social media. Because guess what? On social media, I am that Tolu.
Yes, sir.
I am that Tolu, as in, you're wondering that Tolu, like, where did that come from? Which Tolu?
Because there are many Tolus, so you have to know that it's this tall one.
Is this tall one or this tall one right here? I am that Tolu, and follow me. I am Honey Drops on social media.
Yeah.
Of course, drop us a like, but the most important thing that you can do is share our content, okay? Make sure you share our content. Let more people see, help so many more people just catch the vibe that we're spreading, and we will be very grateful. All right, we will be right back to bring you this wonderful episode, so stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
Welcome back, guys. We're so excited to have you guys on this episode. So this episode is dedicated to our young people, our teenagers. So if you have kids who are between the ages of 13 through 17, this episode is for them. Today we're going to be talking about teen dating violence, and we are going to start from what causes young people, who are just discovering themselves to become violent towards each other.
I think one of the major influences is pop culture and music being a trigger.
You're a musician.
Yeah, so it's really sad because I feel like musicians are not doing the best job because a lot of you musicians have younger fan bases.
Yes.
People like, I don't want to call names, but not in a negative light, but of course Justin Bieber, for instance, all the teens in the world adore him.
Yes.
And you have people like Billie Eilish, that also teen-driven fan base. So the content that these young people listen to is very important as to building and forming their minds about the world, because some of them they embrace the world from music.
Yes.
What they hear in the music.
Yes.
And I've heard a lot of people hear that some artists have this dark messaging to their music where they say that the world doesn't care about you, nobody wants to hear you, so you feel lost. Messaging like that conditions the minds of young people to feel like no one is out there for them, not even their parents.
As a parent, it scares me a lot.
Yeah, it does.
Because I am always on my toes, like when my kids have access to cell phones.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, the reason behind it is we have to be able to communicate with them at all times, because we can't be with them at all times.
Yeah.
However, it gives them the ability to have information overload.
Exactly.
And I'm constantly checking, what are you watching? What are you looking at? What's that video?
Exactly.
And all of that good stuff. And these kids, they are looking for something.
To
A lot of what
identify
they're
with.
looking for, they sometimes feel like what they're getting from their family is not enough.
Exactly. So that's why an open line of conversation needs to happen from parents to their children, to the point where their kids feel like every part of my life my parents should be a part of it.
Yes.
Because they're not judging me,
Uh-huh.
they're genuinely trying to help me. And that's the reason why over discipline can be a negative thing. Because you want your child to be comfortable enough, like if the world is crashing down on me,
Yes.
my parents is the one.
The first person. Think about, were you raised in Nigeria?
Yes, I was.
I was raised in Nigeria too.
Exactly.
So we have this, I think there is a sort of like a deficit. But however, even though we grew up with that deficit, like we were extremely disciplined.
Of course.
It was like when your parents are talking, you can't talk, you can't be there, you can't sit with them, you can't have a regular conversation with them. Like you're the child and we're the parent.
Exactly.
Stay in your corner and respect yourself. In fact,
Exactly.
if you don't respect yourself, we'll bring that respect into you.
It's like heaven and earth. It's ridiculous.
But the world has changed, because even my mom tells me, well, you know the way you're raising your children these days. And I'm like, yes, I do. Because I want my children to feel like they can trust me.
Absolutely.
Because this environment is so different from Africa. Yes, we had all of those things, but I feel like we had a little bit more shelter in our favor.
Of course.
So we were not overly exposed. But now the
things.
world is too exposed.
Yeah.
So teenagers are now dating earlier.
Exactly.
Frankly, in fact, if you're a teenager, why are you even dating? Because me, when I was a teenager, who born you to say you're dating? Dating? Where? How? Because let's be real.
It's ridiculous.
So we're talking about teen dating violence because the world has evolved.
Yeah.
But if you're a teenager, why are you dating? Because in our own time, dating and teenager, those words.
Yeah, I remember when I was very young, my dad used to say this to me: as long as you live under this roof and you're eating my food and you don't contribute one naira to
There
this
you
food,
go.
you don't have the right to have a girlfriend.
That's it.
Because he's conditioning my mind to see that as a young man, you need to be able to take care of yourself.
Right.
Before you can even think of taking care of another girl. So, but today in this world, you have teens feeling like it's more about the feeling. If you're endeared to somebody.
But I love him. I'm like, child, Omo, what are you talking about? Do you even know what love is? Like, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, and Hollywood is doing a terrible job.
Oh my goodness.
A terrible job at conditioning the minds of young people, because you watch all these high school movies.
Even Disney.
Disney
does I mean,
so selling this whole fantasy of you're in love at a very young age. Because they don't. I mean, and you get into love, and some kids have come from families where the example of love that's been set for them is very bad.
Oh.
So the example of love they've experienced is either the abuse from mom to dad. And that's all they know that love is. So they take that and they use it on other kids. And it's like, at a very young age, you're experiencing something that you should have saved till when you're much younger.
Exactly.
I mean, much older.
Much older. And, kids who have been exposed to situations of violence end up going to school and starting off as bullies.
Of course.
They bully other kids. They try to lord over other kids because that's what they're used to, or that's the behavior that's been modeled for them.
Yeah.
Now that transfers in their relationship, and especially if a lot of young kids at that age, the psychology, the chemistry of their body matched with the psychology of their mind, they're still trying to, it's still in a petri dish. It's like it's still mixing up. They're still trying to figure it out.
And those emotions and those feelings are volatile at that age.
Extremely.
Because it's not contained.
Yes.
So it's just sparking off.
All over the place.
So you find a girl feeling like, if she doesn't have the love of this boy in school, she's going to die.
Or if she doesn't dress a certain way.
Exactly. So it's like they become extremely depressed at a very young age.
Yes.
And, it's like, what is wrong with you? Like, why? The school should be a place of learning, but Some of them don't even, you have situations where a child says, I don't want to go to school today. And they will kick and scream about it because there's something they're experiencing in school that they don't want to deal with.
And sometimes getting them to talk about it is so difficult.
Hard.
It's so hard for them because they feel like you don't understand. And that's one thing I try to do as a mom. Not that I'm perfect, but I feel like I do my absolute best. Like, I know each of my kids, and once their demeanor, the way they look, the way I'm like, what's going on? And they're like, nothing. And they know me. I will ask you that same question until you tell me what is good. If I have to, I'm like, okay, please tell me. Like, I have literally told I'm like, please tell me, because I know how important it is. Especially the fact that, you mentioned something, you said depression. The fact that teenagers ages 9 through 14, not even 15, ages 9 through 14, have the highest incidence of suicide.
Due to depression.
Suicide.
Exactly.
These kids are offing themselves.
Of course.
It's scary.
Of course.
9-year-old.
Yeah. And it's sad because, I'm just, that's the reason why I started with music. Because if I listen to some of these lyrics that I'm hearing that are, being, listened to teenagers, it's like, you're not worth it. Nobody sees me. I'm living in the dark. They talk about parents not being there. Lyrics that are very explicit. And these are teen stars that are.
Well, maybe that's the reality, because if you look at all of these teenage or child stars, they end up becoming a business to their parents.
Of course.
Because that's their meal ticket.
Yeah.
So the parents stop seeing these children as this is my child. This is our business. This is how we make our money. So whether you're happy, whether you're okay, whether you're mentally stable or not, you get out there, do what you need to do so this family can have whatever it is you're bringing in. And a lot of these children don't end up growing up instability. And of course, we've seen so many situations. Michael Jackson, we can go on and on and on. As amazingly talented as these kids are, they are not. Sometimes we can't fault them, because a parent is responsible for a child.
Exactly.
You're the custodial guardian. So when you leave a child to raise themselves,
then they begin to raise themselves.
How else do you think they're going to turn out? So, guys, we're going to be right back, because we really want to talk about not just the effects of teen dating violence. We're going to talk about some of the things that that you will be able to identify as symptoms of someone who is being abused, or a child who's going through depression. Stay tuned, we'll be right back. Hi everybody, my name is Dr. Oyinkansola Jinadu, the president and founder of the Honey Drops Foundation. I am so excited to welcome you back, guys, to the month of October. As you all know or may not know, October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. Throughout 2020 and 2021, due to the pandemic, we had to take a hiatus to really focus and re-strategize on how we can be most impactful as a 501c3 nonprofit in the community. And we have done an amazing work rebuilding all of our platforms, especially our website, to allow you to easily donate, register to volunteer and be part of all of our programs. But most importantly, I am super excited to announce to you guys that we are getting ready for a bigger and better 2022. So stay tuned. Make sure you go to our website, honeydropsfoundation.org, to donate, because 2022, we are coming back bigger, better, and stronger to help provide education, to elevate and empower youth and families to live beyond domestic violence and teen dating violence. Welcome to October, guys. Welcome back, guys. We're still on this teen dating violence discussion. And right now, we just want to dive a little bit deeper to talk about some signs that you can identify with a child who is actually being victimized, or who is at such a depressed state that they are close to suicide. And chances are, if you miss even one of these signs, it's easy for us to lose that child. And that's why the numbers are so high. For children ages 9 through 14, suicide. And a lot of this suicide and depression usually comes from relationships.
It really does.
They don't understand this relationship thing.
Because they can't process denial or rejection. They want to be accepted,
Mhm.
so they try their best to make sure that they change themselves enough for the person that they want to be accepted by. And if that doesn't work, then they just snap, they break.
Mm.
Because they're emotionally fragile at that age.
Mhm.
They don't know how to deal with rejection.
Yeah, they don't have the mental capacity to
Yeah.
handle it. So if you have a child, you have a friend, you see somebody, young person,
Yeah.
who used to be outgoing and just bubbly, suddenly they become excessively quiet.
Yeah.
That's a sign that there's something going on.
Definitely.
And please do not overlook it. Don't say, oh, kids are just weird or hormones or whatever. We try to explain it away. When a behavioral pattern exhibits itself that was not there before, it's a huge cause for alarm.
Exactly. Because what he's doing at that point is he's becoming more into his mind. So he's thinking more and saying less.
Yes.
And that's a clear sign that there's a lot of things going on in
Going
that head.
on, yes.
Because he's quiet, he's not saying anything. So when your child is just overly quiet, yes, no, okay, nothing. You need to be concerned.
Oh my God, yes.
Because he's processing it in his own way in his mind. So that is really cause for concern.
And every thought at that point makes sense to him.
Yes.
Every thought makes sense to him
Of
because
course.
to him in his head, everything is right. So we have to be very mindful. When the grades start slipping, a child doing well at school suddenly starts having failing grades or not turning in work or just slacking on their schoolwork. Because ideally, I have found, I used to be a teacher.
Yeah.
Even like kids who have difficulty learning, there's no child that really wants to fail. They don't want to fail. They want to do well. So when a child who's been doing well is failing grades is it's an indication.
Of course.
Except of course if there's some academic reason why that is happening, then that's okay. But it's something that parents should never overlook.
Absolutely.
Another thing that I've found is eating disorder.
Yes. A lot of kids really eat, and it could be different extremes. They become anorexic or they become obese. They eat themselves, they become emotional eaters.
Yes.
Or they deprive themselves because the popular girls in school
They're
are skinny. So they deprive themselves food because they feel like, oh, if they're popular it's because they're slim. So let me try to be like these other girls. Because no boy is talking to them.
As a parent, how can you help mitigate that though?
That's the thing.
Because we try to give our children confidence and say you're beautiful. There's no child say monkey no find mama like him.
Exactly.
But kids will say, but you're my mom. That's why you love me.
You're saying exactly.
How do we help a child?
I think it's about and I know it's hard for parents. I'm not even going to pretend. It's hard, but you have to not only know your child but know your child's friends. It's very important that you know their friends.
Yes.
Have them tell them, hey, tell Billy and Emily to come home for dinner.
Yes.
You want to talk with them so that you understand the kind of people your child is attracting.
Yes.
Because if you have an understanding of the kind of people your child is attracting, then you can form a profile as to how your child is thinking.
That's true, because they're the sum total of their friends anyway. And it's Tolu, I tell you, this part for this topic for me is so personal.
I know.
Because I'm mom of a teenager.
I know.
And then I have 2 more going into that phase.
So
I'm hypersensitive in this season, as busy as I get.
Of course.
So, and then sometimes, with the excessive exposure to media, kids have access. Can you believe that children have access to making a weapon, a bomb? They can get all of those materials online.
Yeah, it's available for free.
All of the resources that they need.
Of course.
That is even, I'm like, Jesus,
it's
what's
available
this?
for free information.
Even in the schools, they have access to medication.
Yeah.
They have access to different types of things. So when a child comes up and says weird stuff like, oh, I just want to kill myself. Sometimes we can chalk it up to, oh my God, teenagers are so dramatic.
Exactly.
Like we always say.
Yeah.
No, please.
Pay attention to
Pay attention to that. Pay attention, close attention. Because for me, with my 3 boys, like my teenager always wants to be by himself. Understandably, he wants to be. He's
he's
But I still insist on. family gathering. I'm like, don't lock yourself up in your room. Come and sit with your brother. Sit there
That's
and do
helpful.
whatever you want to do, but just sit where we can see you.
Yeah, that's helpful.
Let me see you. Let your brother see you. Let us see you. Be with us. Just be in the midst of. Sometimes he'll slip away, and he does it a lot. But I'm like, I'm just like a dog with a bone. Like, that's all I can do, right?
I know. And you know, to even emphasize more on your child being visible to you, there's a TikTok that I saw. The girl is just 14, and she did a TikTok in her bikini bottoms. You know, so I'm like, you know, and she doesn't look 14. You know how people grow up.
Of course, kids are growing so fast.
In the comments, what I was seeing were a lot of people saying, grown people saying, "Oh my God, you're so beautiful."
What?
Grown? Yeah.
Did they know her age?
That's the thing. Somebody else came and commented on the same comments that this girl is only 14 years old, and whoever is your mom should be ashamed that you
take this down.
Exactly, and that's the thing. When kids have time to themselves, they do things like TikTok, and you're not there. You don't know what they're doing on TikTok.
Yeah.
And that's how they draw predators to themselves.
Exactly.
Because, like, they're locked up in your room. You're not there. You don't know what they're doing.
We need to be aware. Like, you are active on social media.
Yes, I am.
Our careers depend on it.
Of course.
We have to be on social media.
Of course.
So with my kids seeing my heavy activity on social media, they want to be on social media too. But what I do as a parent is I introduce them to it on my own terms.
Of course.
Sometimes I'm like, let's do a video together.
Exactly.
Let's do a TikTok together.
Exactly.
You know, because that way there's no shadow cast. Like,
of course.
Don't do that. Like, you know, our parents will say, "Oh, don't go there." Oh,
Yeah.
but why should I? They're not going to tell you why.
Of course.
Don't talk to a boy. They don't want to tell you.
As soon as he touches you, you're
You're pregnant. Come on. You know, those things. I feel like just taking control of the narrative for your kids as a parent and helping them navigate these social media waters, the media and everything, I think it's a great help.
Absolutely.
Or what do you think?
Absolutely. Be involved, like you said. You know, be involved. Whatever your child is interested in, like TikTok or Instagram, be involved.
Yes.
So they don't feel like, you know, you're depriving them of it.
Yes.
But you're guiding them through it.
You're guiding them through it because it's important. So guys, teen dating violence, and you guys can see that it has a very widespread tentacle, like it's like an octopus. It has several arms and it goes, and the end result is usually depression and suicide.
Of course.
It's crazy because when you talk about domestic violence, it's someone else actually inflicting pain and hurt. In this case, someone else is inflicting the pain.
Yeah.
However, the end result is self-inflicted pain.
Exactly.
And the loss of a life that, who are you going to hold? Your child killed themselves.
Yeah.
Who are you going to blame?
And another thing a parent can do is if you notice your child is in that 12-year-old realm, you know, of course they will start having crushes.
Yes.
So let them know that if you have a crush, let them come to the house.
It's okay to talk to you about it.
Come to the house. Let me know who your crush is. If that's an option, you know, it's just be involved in the conversation to the point where your child can tell you, well, today Darren said this. What does this mean? Like, he said that? Really?
Oh.
I need to talk to Darren's
What
mom.
were you guys talking about?
Exactly, exactly. But as opposed to not knowing, periods.
Yes.
You know?
And, you know, I feel like parents should be more like,
Yeah.
I'm not saying be your child's friend, because definitely you are not their friend.
Yeah.
You're the parent.
Of course.
But you have to be able to allow your kids get to know you.
Absolutely.
So that way, because sometimes we put up this facade so perfect.
That's
they could do no wrong.
That's what I feel.
But do you know now, as a parent, I make
Now
a
you
lot
get
of
it.
mistakes.
Exactly.
I'm like, guys, I'm sorry. Mom just goofed off on that one. Like, I am so sorry. There are certain things that they might not even be aware that I did wrong, but I want to bring it to them as a teachable moment to say, look, adults mess up too.
Yeah, of course.
And it's okay.
Yeah.
Nobody's perfect. We're not. I'm not.
Of course.
But guess what? Whatever information we're sharing with you is just so that we can do our part to help move the needle forward in a positive direction.
Yeah.
October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. February is Teen Dating Violence Awareness Month. And I think that those 2 months are not even enough. It should be an everyday 365 days campaign Every single day we should be campaigning for our future generation, our young people, figuring out a way to better help serve them with the content that we're creating, with the information we're providing, and the resources that we're making available to them. But the most important thing, Tolu, I feel, is bringing them in the process.
Of course.
They need to be a part of the
They
solution.
need to be a part of the solution. And one thing I would say, if you're a young person out there and you're listening to this, is love is worth waiting for. A relationship is worth waiting for. Just love yourself enough to discover who you are first, because that's the journey of going to school and doing all these activities, trying to figure yourself out. So figure yourself out first before you start to figure out a relationship, because it will be waiting for you. It's not going anywhere.
So, I mean, I feel like they might find it patronizing when we say, oh, relationships are overrated or whatever.
Yeah.
By the end of the day, they want to self-discover.
Exactly.
As long as they're discovered in a safe space, it's okay, because
Absolutely.
we don't want to stifle their imagination and their creativity.
Absolutely.
So hopefully parents who are watching this will figure out a way to help their children have a safe space to express themselves.
Yeah.
Children want to be heard.
Yes.
They want to feel like they matter. They want to feel like they're a part of the conversation.
Yeah.
They want to feel like they're a part of making the decisions and the choices of their lives. Sometimes I trick my kids into thinking they're the ones making those choices, and I'm guiding them. And, it's what I really want them to do. But having them be a part of the process, it allows them to take ownership.
Exactly.
Yes. All right, guys. We can go on and on about this topic, but for today, we're going to let it rest to say teen dating violence is a real thing, and it leads to suicide, and it goes through the route of depression, and kids go through a lot. But you have to understand that teenagers are human beings. They are whole human beings.
Absolutely.
So we can't treat them otherwise. We have to do our part to help them.
Absolutely. I can't agree more. Yeah.
All
It's
right.
a lot of work, but you can do it.
We can do it, and together we
believe
can.
you.
Thank you, guys. All right, guys, that's it from us today, from
Yeah.
Dr. OJ and Tolu. Sorry, I know this episode was heavy, but look, there's no other way to talk about teen dating, violence, suicide, depression. It's a conversation that needs to be had,
Of course.
and I'm glad that we could have it today.
Yeah, I'm glad too.
All right, guys.
All right,
Until
guys.
next time, don't forget to subscribe,
Yes.
turn
hit
your
that red button.
notification on. Share this video, leave us a comment, drop us a like, lots of likes, lots of likes. And until next time, we will be right back. And it's goodbye from me, Dr. OJ, and
Bye from me, Tolu and I.
yay! Bye, guys.
Bye.